I came home to a house that wasn't mine anymore. Not in the way that mattered. It was a Tuesday, dusk settling over our suburban street, and I just finished a brutal day at my shipping company. I expected the usual: kids arguing over the remote, Lauren prepping dinner, the hum of normal life. Instead, I walked into silence. The living room was dim, curtains drawn, and Lauren stood by the kitchen counter, arms crossed, staring at me like I'd already lost something. "We need to talk," she said, voice flat. My stomach twisted. You don't hear that tone unless trouble's brewing. I dropped my keys on the table, try to keep it light. "What's up? Kid's okay." She didn't answer, just flicked her eyes to the stairs where our two girls were supposedly asleep. Then she stepped closer, too close, and whispered, "I've been thinking about us. About what's next." I figured she meant bills or schedules. Our marriage had been a slow grind lately. But then she said, "I need space. Time to figure things out." My throat tightened. Space? After 12 years? I pressed her, kept my voice steady. "Figure what out? You're not making sense." She hesitated, picking at her sleeve, a nervous tick I hadn't seen in years. "I've been talking to someone," she admitted. "Someone who gets me." My mind blanked. Talking? Gets her? Before I could process, she turned away, grabbed her phone, and muttered, "I'm staying at a friend's tonight. Don't wait up." The door slammed behind her. I stood there, staring at the empty kitchen, replaying her words. A friend? Sure. But that tick, that dodge, it wasn't right. I wandered to the shelf where my old vinyls sat, ran a finger over a worn copy of Revolver. Used to calm me down. Not tonight. Something was off, and it wasn't just a rough patch. She'd left a crack in the story, and I couldn't let it sit. By morning, I decided I had to know who this someone was, and why she'd looked so guilty saying it. Laura didn't come home that night. I barely slept, pacing between the couch and the girls' rooms, checking they were still breathing, still oblivious. By 6 a.m., I was brewing coffee, replaying her exit, talking to someone. The phrase clawed at me. Work was a blur, drivers calling in sick, a late shipment, but my mind stayed on her. She texted around noon, "Staying with Jen? Need a few days." Jen was her college friend, reliable alibi. I wanted to believe it. But that nervous, sleeve-picking, it didn't fit. I called Jen's place that afternoon, casual-like, asking if Lauren was around. Jen paused, too long, then said, "Oh, she's out grabbing groceries." "I'll tell her you called." Groceries? At 2 p.m. on a Wednesday. I thanked her, hung up, and stared at my desk. Jen was covering. Lauren wasn't there. My pulse kicked up. I'd never been the suspicious type. 12 years of trust don't vanish overnight. But doubt's a quiet thief. It sneaks in, rearranges things. That evening, I took the girls to soccer practice, kept it normal. Dropped them at my sister's after, claiming a late meeting. Then I drove to Jen's apartment complex, parked across the street. No sign of Lauren's car. I waited an hour, feeling ridiculous, until a neighbor, some guy in a ball cap, ambled by. "You looking for someone?" he asked. I shrugged, played it off. "Just waiting on a friend." He nodded, then added, "Saw a woman like your wife here last week. With some dude. Thought you should know." My jaw locked. I thanked him, drove off, mind racing. A dude, not Jen. I pulled into a gas station, sat there gripping the wheel. Lauren wasn't just figuring things out. She was hiding something, someone. I thought about calling her, demanding answers, but she'd just lie again. Instead, I popped the glove box, found an old receipt from her car. A diner, 30 miles out, dated last month. She'd said it was a work lunch. Alone. I crumpled it, tossed it aside. Tomorrow, I'd go there. See what she'd left out. Because if she was slipping away, I wasn't letting it happen blind. The diner was a dive, greasy windows, flickering neon sign, spelling out, "Eat," in faded red. I'd driven out there before work, telling myself it was nothing, just a hunch. The receipt said 1:47 p.m., so I timed it. Lunch rush, midweek. I walked in, scanned the room. Truckers, a few locals, nobody I knew. The waitress, a tired woman with a name tag reading Barb, eyed me as I slid into a booth. "Coffee," I said. She poured it, lingered. "You look lost," she cracked. I forced a smile. "Just passing through." I sipped, watched the door. No plan, just instinct. Then Barb came back, wiping her hands on her apron. You remind me of a guy who comes in here. Sharp suit, dark hair. Always with a lady, blonde, pretty, real tense. My grip tightened on the mug. Lauren's blonde. Always tense lately. They've been here a while? I asked, keeping it casual. Barb shrugged. Couple months. Thursdays, usually. Today was Wednesday. Close enough. I paid, left, sat in my truck across the lot. Checked my watch. 10 a.m., too early. But then a silver sedan rolled in, and my breath caught. Lauren stepped out, hair pulled back, sunglasses on. She didn't see me. A guy followed, tall, dark hair, that sharp suit Barb mentioned. They walked inside, sat by the window. She laughed at something he said, leaned in. I'd never seen her that easy with me, not in years. My hand shook. I wanted to barge in, flip the table, demand who he was. But I stayed put. Watched. They left after 20 minutes, drove off together. I followed, kept my distance. They hit the highway, then veered toward a motel, cheap brick, the kind you don't brag about. She went in first. He followed, carrying a bag. My chest burned. I parked, stared at that door, imagining every scenario. Work lunch? Space? Lies stacked on lies. I snapped a photo of his car. License plate blurry, but enough. I wasn't sure what I'd do with it. Yet. But as I drove home, one thought stuck. I needed more than guesses now. I didn't confront her. Not yet. Lauren texted that night, still at Jen's. Girl's okay. I replied, yeah, fine, and left it there. She didn't deserve more. I'd seen her at that motel, giggling with some guy like I didn't exist. Sleep wasn't an option. I sat in the dark, spinning an old Fleetwood Mac record, letting the needle scratch out my thoughts. Trust was gone, replaced by a cold itch I couldn't shake. By morning, I decided I'd tail her again. Get proof. She came home the next day, breezy as ever. Jen's great, but I miss the girls, she said, unpacking a bag I didn't check. I nodded, played along. Good to have you back. She smiled, too tight, and headed upstairs. I waited till she was showering, then grabbed her phone. Unlocked, sloppy. A text from D, tomorrow, 8, same place. No context. My pulse spiked. D, Derek? Dave? Didn't matter. I screenshotted it, put the phone back. Tomorrow, I'd be there. That night, I borrowed my sister's car. Less chance she'd spot me. Dropped the girls off, said I had a client dinner. Drove to that motel, parked in the shadows. At 7:58, her SUV pulled in. Then his sedan. They met by the entrance, talked low, glanced around. She handed him something, small, maybe a key. He smirked, slipped inside. She followed. I gripped the wheel, fought the urge to ram his car. Instead, I waited. An hour later, they came out, her hair messy, his shirt untucked. My jaw clenched. Whatever space meant, it wasn't platonic. I trailed them back to the diner. They sat outside this time, under a flickering light. I parked far off, zoomed in with my phone camera. Blurry, but clear enough. Her hand on his, a laugh I hadn't heard in years. Then he pulled out a laptop, showed her something. She nodded, serious now. My shipping company's logo flashed on the screen. My blood ran cold. This wasn't just an affair. They were plotting something against me, my business, my life. I needed inside that laptop, and I needed it fast. I couldn't let it go. That logo, my company's, on a screen twisted everything. Lauren wasn't just stepping out. She was selling me out. I drove home, mind racing, piecing it together. Late nights, her work stress. Those trips, they weren't random. She'd been at it for months, and I'd been too busy keeping the business afloat to notice. By the time I pulled into the garage, I made up my mind. I'd get into her world, one way or another. Next morning, she left early. Meeting a client, she said, kissing my cheek like nothing was wrong. I waited 10 minutes, then logged into our Wi-Fi network. Her laptop was still synced. Amateur move. I poked around, found a cloud folder labeled work. Inside, deleted files, emails, spreadsheets. One caught my eye. Q3 projections. Ryan's routes. My shipping routes. Private data. Another email, to D, said, he's distracted. Push now. My hand shook. She was feeding him intel to tank me. I heard her car pull in, too soon. I logged out, shut the laptop, grabbed a coffee mug to look busy. She walked in, all smiles. Client canceled. Thought I'd work from home. I nodded, sipped, kept my face blank. "Rough day?" she asked. "Always," I said, watching her settle at the table, oblivious. That night, she stayed late in the office nook typing. I crept downstairs, peeked. Her screen glowed. More files, my logo again. She didn't see me. I backed off, heart pounding. She was in deep. The next day, I called Tim, my warehouse guy. Casual, fishing. "Hey, anyone asking about our routes lately?" He paused. "Funny you mention it. Some suit came by last month, said he was a consultant. Lauren vouched for him. Consultant. Sure." I thanked him, hung up, and stared at the wall. That D guy wasn't just her fling. He was a shark, and she was baiting the hook. I dug through her bag later, found a USB drive. Plugged it in upstairs. A video loaded. Her and him tangled up, laughing in some cheap room. My stomach turned. But the file name? Leverage. They weren't just playing me. They were recording it. That video burned into me. Lauren and him, tangled, laughing, shameless, on a USB labeled leverage. It wasn't just betrayal, it was a weapon. I ejected it, hid it in my desk drawer under a stack of old vinyl sleeves. My hands wouldn't stop shaking. She'd recorded it, or he had, and kept it close. Why? To use against me? Against someone else? I paced the bedroom, glancing at the clock. 2 a.m. She was downstairs, asleep on the couch, claiming back pain. Convenient. By morning, I'd calm enough to think. She didn't know I'd found it. That was my edge. I poured coffee, watched her shuffle in, all yawns and innocence. "Sleep okay?" I asked, testing. She nodded, avoided my eyes. "Fine. You?" I shrugged, let it drop. But as she grabbed her keys, client meeting, I knew I couldn't wait. I'd already synced that tracker app to her phone from days ago. It pinged an hour later, back at that motel. Same spot. I drove there, parked a block away. Her SUV sat in the lot, his sedan beside it. No movement. I waited, sweat beading, until they emerged. Her first, then him carrying that laptop. They argued, low and sharp. She gestured wildly. He smirked, tapped the bag. My gut said it was about me. I snapped photos, grainy but proof. Then my phone buzzed, a text from her, "Home late. Don't wait up." Line number 50. I stared at those words, then at them driving off together. Back home, I dug deeper. Her cloud account was still open season. I found more emails to D about my biggest client, a trucking firm. "He's losing them next quarter," she'd written. "Push harder." My company was bleeding, and she was the knife. But then a new file popped up, a draft contract. My business signed over to a shell company. Dated next week. My breath caught. This wasn't an affair. It was a heist, and I was the mark. I leaned back, staring at the screen, the USB burning a hole in my mind. Whatever leverage meant, I'd turn on them first. The contract stared back at me. My company, my life, handed to some ghost firm. Lauren's signature mocked me from the screen. I shut the laptop, pulse hammering. She was downstairs, humming like nothing was wrong, prepping dinner for the girls. I wanted to storm in, shove the evidence in her face, watch her squirm. But I didn't. She'd lie, twist it, play victim. I needed more, something airtight. That USB was a start, but it wasn't enough. I had to know who D was and what he had on her. I waited till she slept, then slipped into the garage. Her bag was there, slung over a chair. I rifled through, keys, lipstick, a crumpled receipt. Diner again, 2 days ago. Then a burner phone, cheap, tucked in a side pocket. My heart jumped. I powered it on. No lock, sloppy again. Text from boss, stick to the plan. He's clueless. Her reply, he's asking questions. Hurry, boss. Not D. Someone else pulling strings? I pocketed it, hands cold. She was a pawn too. Next day, I called my lawyer buddy, Pete, kept it vague. Hypothetical. I said over coffee at his office. Wife's cheating, maybe blackmailing me. What's my play? He leaned back, tapped his mug. Proof's everything. Video, texts, leverage flips fast if it's solid. But if she's got a partner, watch her back. Cops hate messy. I nodded, sipped to the storm inside. Video I had. Text now too. But messy was right. This was a tangle, and I was still half blind. That night, she came home late, reeking of perfume I didn't recognize. Long day, she muttered, brushing past. I followed her to the kitchen, casual. Who's the client? She froze, then smiled, too thin. Just some logistics guy. Boring stuff. Logistics. My field. I let it slide, watch her pour wine with shaky hands. She was cracking. Good. I sat alone later, spinning a warped Zeppelin 4 on the turntable, the hiss matching my thoughts. She thought I was clueless, but that burner phone said otherwise. And tomorrow, I'd follow D instead, see where her puppet led me. I tailed him the next morning. Lauren left early, same client, excuse, and I waited till her tracker pinged the diner. I didn't follow her this time. I'd seen his sedan enough to spot it. Dark blue, dented fender. It rolled out 20 minutes later, him alone. I kept my truck a few cars back, weaving through traffic. He didn't notice. Sloppy like her. He pulled into a strip mall. Pawn shop, vape store, sketchy vibe. Parked, went inside an unmarked office. I waited, snapped a photo of the sign. Consulting services. Bull. An hour later, he emerged, laptop bag slung over his shoulder, talking on a phone. I couldn't hear, but his smirk said enough. He drove off, and I followed, straight to my warehouse district. My turf. He parked near a competitor's lot, met a guy in a suit. They shook hands, traded envelopes. My dashboard clock read 11 a.m. I zoomed in, my logo on his laptop screen again, flashed brief but clear. They were gutting me piece by piece. I drove off before they saw me, fist tight. Back home, Lauren was out, girls at school, house empty. I synced her burner to my laptop, scrolled older texts. Boss again, get the video ready. Hill Cave. Her, it's done. Derek's got it. Derek. Finally, a name. But video ready? The USB flashed in my mind. Her and him tangled up. Leverage wasn't for me. It was for someone else. I dug in her cloud again, found a draft email to Derek. Tell him it's as if he signs. My business. They were blackmailing a client, using her mess to seal it. She walked in as I logged out, catching me at the table. You're home early, she said, eyes narrowing. I shrugged. Slow day. She lingered, then grabbed her bag, burner still inside, untouched. Heading out, she muttered. I nodded, watched her go. That night, I sat with the USB, replaying in my head. Not just proof, it was a bomb. And Derek didn't know I had it. Tomorrow, I'd test him. See how deep this rabbit hole went. Lauren dropped the hammer that night. She came home late, girls asleep, and sat me down at the kitchen table. No preamble, just cold eyes. You're giving your business to Derek, or I'm taking the kids, and you're done. My brain stalled. Derek, the guy from the video, the diner, my warehouse. Her voice was steel, no waver. He deserves it. You don't. I stared, coffee mug warm in my hands, her words sinking in. 12 years, 2 kids, and she'd flipped the table like it was nothing. I leaned back, kept my face blank. Why Derek? She flinched, barely, but recovered fast. He's better at this. Smarter. I'm tired of scraping by. Scraping by? My company kept us afloat, paid for a car, the girls' school. Lies on lies. But I'd seen the video. Her and Derek caught in that cheap room, laughing. I'd copied it from a USB days ago, stashed it safe. So I smiled slow. Funny you mention him. I've got something you should see. Her eyes widened as I pulled my phone, hit play. The audio was muffled but clear enough. Her voice his a moment she couldn't deny. Her face drained, lips parting. Where, how? She stammered. I cut her off. Doesn't matter. What's this plan you two cooked up? She stood, chair scraping, and snapped, you don't get it. This is bigger than you. Bigger? My business, my kids. Her threat wasn't a bluff. She'd rehearsed it. I stood too, matched her glare. Try me. She grabbed her bag, hands trembling, and spat. You'll lose everything, courts, custody, all of it. Derek's got people. People. That boss from the burner? I let her storm out, doors slamming, and sat back down. The video wasn't just leverage, it was my shield. She thought I'd cave, hand over my life's work to her sleaze of a boyfriend. But I'd been watching, digging, waiting. Derek didn't know I'd tied him to my client's losses. And Lauren didn't know I'd already flipped the script. Tomorrow, I'd push back hard. See who blinked first in this game she'd started. She didn't come home that night. I expected it. Her ultimatum was her exit, a line in the sand. I checked the girls, still asleep, then sat with the burner phone, scrolling. Boss texted her at midnight. He give in. Her reply, not yet. Working on it. Working on it. Like I was a project to break. I tossed the phone aside, rubbed my eyes. Derek had people, she'd said. That strip mall office, the warehouse meet, pieces clicked. This wasn't just her and him. It was a machine, and I was the target. Morning came loud, doorbell at 7 a.m. I opened it, half expecting cops or papers. Instead, Derek stood there, smirking, hands in his pockets. Lauren sent me, he said, voice smooth. Let's talk. I stepped aside, let him in. He sprawled on my couch like he owned it, eyeing the room. Nice place. Shame to lose it. I crossed my arms. Lose it how? He grinned. She wasn't kidding. Business or kids, pick fast. I sat, kept it cool. She's got a video. So do I. His smirk faltered just a flicker. Bluffing's cute, he said, but his eyes darted. I leaned in. You're not as smart as she thinks. Who's boss? His jaw tightened. Bingo. He stood, paced, then laughed too loud. You're in over your head, Ryan. She played you. I played her. Sign it over, or we'll take it anyway. Played her? My mind spun. He wasn't her partner. He was her leash. He left, tires squealing, and I grabbed my phone. Pulled up the video again. Her laugh, his hands, that leverage label. If he played her, it wasn't for love. I cross-checked the burner texts with her cloud emails. One from Derek to an unknown address. She's in. He's out. Move the funds. Funds. My client's contract, stolen, rerouted. He wasn't just after my business. He was a hired gun, bleeding me dry for someone bigger. I sat back, pieces locking tight. Lauren thought she'd won. Derek thought he'd outsmarted her. But I had the footage, the text, the proof. Time to burn their house down. Derek's visit lit a fuse. He played Lauren, and someone, his boss, was playing him. My business wasn't just a prize. It was a stepping stone. I sat with the burner phone, the video, the emails, my arsenal. Lauren thought I'd fold. Derek thought I'd flinch. They didn't know I'd stopped reacting and started planning. I pulled up my client's contract, stolen funds, rerouted shipments. Derek's fingerprints were all over it, but he'd been sloppy. I had to weigh in. I called Tim at the warehouse, kept it low-key. That consultant, ever see him with paperwork? Tim grunted. Yeah, dropped off some forms once. Lauren signed off. Perfect. I dug through my files, found a matching invoice, forged, dated last month. Derek's shell company was listed. I tweaked it, added a fake wire transfer, made it look like he'd skimmed thousands. Planted it back in my system, then emailed an anonymous tip to the state fraud unit. Check this guy's books. My hands barely shook. That afternoon, I met Pete again, Lawyer Pete, my lifeline. Showed him the video, the text, the contract draft. Can I use this? I asked. He whistled low. It's a nuke. She's blackmailing you. He's extorting. Cops will eat it up if you frame it right. But if they've got muscle, move fast. Muscle. That boss loomed larger every minute. I nodded, left, and drove home. Lauren's SUV was in the driveway, early for once. A test. She was in the kitchen, sipping tea, all calm. Thought it over? She asked, smug. I leaned on the counter. Yeah, Derek's got a problem, though. Her cup paused midair. What problem? I smiled thin. Cops might ask him soon. Her eyes flashed panic, then rage. You're bluffing. I shrugged, walked out. She didn't follow. That night, I backed up everything, video, text, forged files, on a drive, hid it in an old stone sleeve. If they came for me, I'd be ready. But I wasn't waiting. Derek's clock was ticking, and I just wounded tighter. The cops moved fast. 2 days later, I got a call from Tim. Warehouse buzzing, suits asking questions. They nabbed that consultant guy, he said. Fraud, big time. Derek. I hung up, checked the news. Local headline, businessman arrested in embezzlement sting. His mugshot stare back, smirk on, eyes hollow. My tip had landed. I leaned back, let it sink in. Lauren didn't know yet. She'd been out all morning, probably with him, plotting. Time to watch her fall. She burst in that afternoon, face red, hair wild. What did you do? She yelled, slamming her bag down. I stayed calm, poured coffee. Me? Nothing. Derek's the one in cuffs. She froze, mouth open. You're lying. I sipped, met her glare. Check your phone. She did frantic scrolling, then sank into a chair, muttering, no, no, no. I almost felt bad. Almost. He played you, I said, and you played me. Bad bet. She stood, voice shaking. You think this is over? I'll take the girls, the house, everything. Empty threats now. I crossed my arms. Try it. I've got enough to bury you both. She lunged, grabbed her keys, and ran out. I let her go. An hour later, she called, sobbing. Help me, Ryan. He's gone. I've got nothing. I listened cold. You made your bed. Click. She'd built this mess. Let her sleep in it. That night, I sat with the girls, watching cartoons. Normalcy felt foreign, but they didn't ask where she was. Good. My phone buzzed. A text from Pete. Feds involved now. Bigger fish than Derek. Bigger fish. That boss again. I cracked the shell, but the core was still out there. I tucked the girls in, checked the drive in my desk. Safe. Lauren thought she'd cornered me with that ultimatum. Derek thought he'd outsmarted her. Both wrong. I'd flipped their game, but the board wasn't clear yet. Someone else was watching, and I need more than a video to finish this. Still, for now, I'd won. One piece at a time. Laura didn't give up easy. Next morning, she showed up with a suitcase, banging on the door. I'm taking the girls, she shouted, loud enough to wake the neighbors. I opened it, kept my voice low. You're not. She pushed past, headed upstairs. I followed, calm but firm. They're staying. You're leaving. She spun, eyes wild. I'll call my lawyer. I nodded. Go ahead. I've got something for mine, too. She froze, knowing exactly what I meant. She tried anyway, grabbed their backpacks, started packing. I let her get halfway before I pulled my phone, dialed her parents. Hey, Tom, I said, loud enough for her to hear. Need you to see something. Can I swing by? Lauren dropped a shirt, glared. What are you doing? I held up the phone, video cued, showing them who you really are. She lunged for it. I stepped back. Don't, I warned. She backed off, trembling. An hour later, I was at her folks' place. Tom and Linda, good people who'd always liked me. I sat them down, played the footage. No sound, just enough visuals to make it clear. Linda gasped, covered her mouth. Tom's face hardened. She said you were the problem, he muttered. I shook my head. She's been lying. To you, to me, to everyone. They didn't argue. When Lauren called them later, begging for help, they didn't pick up. Her safety net was gone. She texted me that night. You're a monster. I didn't reply. Monster? She'd handed my life to Derek, threatened my kids. I just fought back. By evening, I heard from Pete. Derek's arrest cracked open a fraud ring. My forged tip had snowballed, hit a rival firm siphoning clients. The boss was real, and the feds were closing in. I locked the doors, checked the girls, safe, asleep. Lauren was out there, alone, her allies crumbling. She tried to take everything. Now, she had nothing. I cut her off at the knees, but the bigger fight was still brewing. For now, though, my house was mine again. The dust settled slow. Derek was locked up, facing years, fraud, extortion, the works. My tip had unraveled his shell game, and the feds took the rest. Pete called that week, voice low. They traced it up. Rival outfit hired him to gut you. Lauren was collateral. Collateral. She'd sold me out for a con man who'd sold her out for a paycheck. I sat back, let that sink in. My business was safe, clients back, route secure. But it didn't feel like victory. Not yet. Lauren vanished after her parents cut her off. No calls, no threats. I heard from Jen she'd crashed on a couch downtown, scrambling for cash. She'd gambled big. My company, our kids, and lost it all. I didn't chase her. The girls asked once, "Where's Mom?" I said, "She's figuring things out," and left it there. They nodded, went back to their homework. Kids adapt. Me? I was still adjusting. The feds came by a day later. 2 agents, suits crisp, asking about Derek's consulting gig. I handed over the forged invoice, played dumb. Found in my files. Weird, right? They bought it, took notes. Didn't ask about the video or Lauren. Good. Pete was right. Proof flipped fast when stuck. They left with a lead on the boss, some exec at a rival firm. My tip had cracked a dam. Now they were chasing the flood. I locked the door behind them, checked my desk. Drive still safe, vinyl sleeve unopened. That night, I cooked for the girls, spaghetti, their favorite. We ate, laughed, normal creeping back. My phone stayed quiet. No Lauren, no Derek, no ghosts. The business hummed again, numbers climbing. I'd saved it, saved us. But the cost hung heavy. Trust was a cracked record now, spinning, but never smooth. I cleaned up, tucked the girls in, and stood in the kitchen, staring at the spot where she'd dropped her ultimatum. Empty now. She'd pushed me to the edge. I pushed back harder, and won. For the first time in weeks, I slept through the night. It's been a month. The girls are good, school, soccer, routine holding us together. My company's back on track, stronger even, with new contracts rolling in. The feds nabbed the boss, some slick exec named Carver, indicted last week. Derek's plea deal sold him out. Lauren's name didn't even come up. She's a footnote now, drifting somewhere, cut loose by everyone. I don't check. She made her choice. I made mine. I'm different, though. Harder. I used to think marriage, family, business, they ran on faith. Now I see the seams, the weak spots. I don't miss her. Not the real her, the one who smiled while sharpening the knife. The girls don't ask anymore. They've moved on faster than I expected. Me, I'll linger sometimes, replaying it all. Not for regret, for lessons. I won't be that guy again, the one who doesn't see the blade coming. Last night, I pulled out my turntable, dusted off Dark Side of the Moon. The needle hit the groove, that slow heartbeat filling the room. I sat there, lights low, letting it wash over me. Used to play it when we were young, broke, dreaming. Now it's just me, the crackle, the weight of what's past. I saved my life, business, kids, sanity, but it cost something. Innocence, maybe. Blindness. Whatever you call it, it's gone. The record spun out, needle lifting. I stared at the sleeve. Worn like me. Lauren thought she'd break me with that ultimatum. Derek thought he'd outsmart us both. It didn't see me coming. I flipped their game, burned their plans, kept what's mine. The feds cleaned up the rest. I'm not proud of the forgery, the coldness. But I'm not sorry either. Survival's messy. I learned that the hard way. Now I listen closer, watch sharper. Trust's a luxury I can't afford anymore. And I'm okay with that. Thank you for tuning into my story. We appreciate every single one of you. We'd love to know what part of the world you're watching from right now. Let us know in the comments.